Hello, I would like to begin with a quote found in Book 2, Chapter 3 of Aristotle's Physics. Knowledge is the object of our inquiry, and men do not think they know a thing till they have grasped the why of it. This quote introduces us to the reasoning behind Aristotle's four causes. Since Aristotle believes that all people by nature want to know, this quote explains to us how we attain that knowledge. Before we dive into the four causes, I think it's necessary to understand causes in general. Aristotle says that things can either exist by nature or exist from other causes. A few examples of things that exist by nature would be animals, plants, and their parts. Things that exist from other causes would be things that were at some point caused by things that exist by nature. Aristotle gives us an example of these kind of things, such as products of art, like tables and coats, that were made by man, a thing that exists by nature. Things that exist by nature have the impulse to change and are capable of motion, while things like coats and tables do not and remain stationary. So, as we can see, as Aristotle says, nature is a source or cause of being moved and of being at rest in that to which it belongs primarily in virtue of itself and not in virtue of a concomitant attribute. The following bullet points on this slide are different characteristics of causes. Accidental sense describes to us that certain factors are special to specific causes, such as the art of bronze sculpting in the cause of statues. The next characteristic is that things can be causes of one another, such as hard work in exercise and health. These two causes are reciprocal, since hard work in exercise causes health, and health causes even more hard work in exercise. Causes can also rely on their contraries. An example would be the cause of a shipwreck. Due to the absence of the pilot, the ship wrecked. The pilot is the one who normally ensures safety of the ship and crew, and since the pilot wasn't there to ensure this safety, the whole ship faced harm and danger. We can say that both the presence and the absence of the pilot played a role in the cause of the shipwreck. Causes can also have parts that create a whole, such as syllables that make letters. Lastly, causes can be either proper or incidental. Proper causes are immediate causes of a thing. A sculptor is a proper cause of a statue. Incidental causes are still causes of things, but are further removed than proper causes. Polykleitos would be an incidental cause of a statue, since Polykleitos is the man who is the sculptor of the statue. Now you could even go further back, saying man is an incidental cause of the statue, since man is Polykleitos, who is a sculptor who made the statue. You could even go further back, saying animal, because animal is a man. The man is Polykleitos, who is a sculptor that created the statue. And sometimes we tend to clump both proper and incidental causes into one agent, such as when we would say Polykleitos the sculptor instead of just Polykleitos or sculptor who made the statue. Before we move on to Aristotle's four causes, I would like to mention a few things that Michael Picard said in his book Philosophy, Adventures in Thought and Reasoning. Michael Picard says that what something is cannot be the same as what something is made of. He gives an example by saying a marble statue of Socrates is a marble statue of Socrates because it is in the form of Socrates. Furthermore, a heap of table parts doesn't make a table, and please excuse that typo, it's supposed to say table, not tabe. Anyway, a heap of table parts doesn't make a table since they are just table parts or a bunch of different pieces of wood, and as Odin said last semester in Plato and Aristotle, you could do a lot with that wood, and we wouldn't assume that it is a table. So, as we can see, although the pieces of wood that make a table are really important in making the table, the form of the table is what actually creates the table. So, as we can see, form determines function, because if pieces of wood are in the shape of a table, then it can't perform the function of a table. Lastly, Michael Picard says that formal cause is a primary cause by nature. It is the beginning and end of change. And I will be able to explain this to you guys when we actually talk about formal causes in depth. As my sassy little kitty friend says, it's time to talk about the four causes. So, causes. What is it all about? The four causes offer an answer to why. And Aristotle's big why was, why is that a statue? We can see why something is a statue by examining its four causes, which are material cause, formal cause, efficient cause, and final cause. These causes may seem like they only describe physical aspects of an object, but these four causes also describe the point and purpose of objects. So let's start by discussing the first cause, the material cause. Material causes. Aristotle explains that material causes are that from which an immanent material a thing comes into being. The bronze is that cause of the statue, and the silver of the saucer, and so are the classes which include these. Now, if you don't know what Aristotle is talking about, Lower simply states, it's a statue because it is made of the stuff statues are made of, maybe bronze or stone. Simply put, material causes are what something is made of. And if you're tired of hearing the example of the statue, we can use Dr. Anton's example of the paper airplane. The paper airplane's material cause is the paper. Now let's move on to formal causes. Aristotle says that formal causes are form or pattern, the definition of the essence and the classes which include this, and the parts included in the definition. Now, if you don't know what Aristotle is blabbing on about this time, Lower helps us and says, it is a statue because of the kind of thing it is. We can think back to the example of the heap of wood that makes a table. Remember how he said that a heap of wood doesn't make a table. It does create the parts of a table, but it's not an actual table until it's in the form of a table. So we can say that a table is a pile of wood, but the kind of pile of wood is a table. Tired of statues and tables? Well, we could go back to Dr. Anton's example about the paper airplane and say that the formal cause of the paper airplane is the shape of the paper airplane. Efficient causes. Aristotle says that efficient causes are that from which the change or the resting from change first begins. The advisor is a cause of the action, and the father a cause of the child, and in general the maker a cause of the thing made, and the change producing of the changing. Simply put, Lower says it's a statue because it was made by a sculptor. So we can say that the efficient cause is the instigator of the cause. If you guys like the paper airplane example a little better, last semester in Plato and Aristotle, Chelsea McCarty was the one who created the paper airplane, so she is the efficient cause of the paper airplane. So final causes. I feel like I should have the final countdown or something playing in the background. But anyway, Aristotle says final causes are the end, that for the sake of which a thing is. So we can say that health is the cause of walking. Lower says it's a statue because it's doing what statues are supposed to do. Maybe it's decorating a room. So the final cause is kind of like the object fulfilling its final function. Again, the paper airplane example. When we threw the paper airplane and it twirled around and made us really happy, that was the final cause. So the final cause of the paper airplane is flight. Unless it was the paper airplane that Chelsea McCarty made, because that paper airplane crash landed onto one of the lights and Jim Ingram had to bring it down, so maybe the final cause of that particular paper airplane was to crash and get some help from Jim. So those are all of the four causes, guys. So we're all finished, we are all experts on the four causes, there can't be any problems, right? Well, no, there kind of is a problem because of chance. Some can say that chance is an efficient cause, and it is acknowledged as endoxa, which means common opinion, but Aristotle says that chance denies an explanation. So can there be such a thing as cause without explanation? And doesn't this go against the whole point of the four causes, which is supposed to explain why? And certain people argue by saying that some things just seem like it can be explained by chance, like running into a friend at the market when you really weren't expecting to run into that certain friend. But again, we can't really give a reasonable explanation for that, and since the four causes are supposed to explain why, we can't really say that chance is a good cause. That's all I have for you guys about the four causes, but if you guys are still a little confused, I received some help to offer you guys a delicious example of the four different causes. So with a little help from my friends Alex and Sophie, we're giving you guys an example of the four causes of the art of cookie making. And the art of cookie making is very specific to the cause of cookies. Now we can see that the ingredients to this recipe is kind of like the material causes of cookies. And just when you guys thought it was going to be a cookie, it's actually a statue of a cat. But not really, they're actually cookies. And we could see here Alex is the efficient cause of the cookies because she's the one who is making the cookies. And then a little later we see the final cause of these cookies. And the final cause is to make me happy and be delicious and go into my mouth. Just one final example, Alex isn't just the efficient cause of cookies, she is also an object that has causes herself. Her material cause is probably the flesh and bones that make her up. Her formal cause is being in the form of Alex Hezek the human, and her efficient cause is most likely her mom who gave birth to her and her father. And her final cause is to be my slave and to make cookies, but not really. Her final cause is to love me and be my best friend and be really awesome. If you guys have any more questions, you know where to find me in class, and thank you for listening.